everyone, Erin from the Painted Tin Bin. What's up? How you doing? So I apologize, we have a little different kind of setup here. My phone broke, I had to get a new phone, you know, the great things of life. But so I am currently waiting on a different setup to do videos. So this will be a little weird. I'll have to do a lot of this to kind of show you the process. But I think we'll be okay. So we are going to do today the XOXO shape. This is the door hanger size, 24 inches. Super cute for Valentine's Day. Let's go over the supplies that you received in your paint kit, and then I'll also kind of go over a couple things you may want to go grab out of your house. So you received paint. So mine, I'm going to use black, white, and red. Your colors could be different. That's totally okay. Also, they may not have come in cups. I may have included cups. It just kind of depends. So if it did not come in cups, if it came in those little tiny shampoo bottles, either go grab a paper plate that you can use to, you know, dip the paint in, dump the paint out and all that. Or the other option is go get a big old piece of aluminum foil, tin foil, and then just kind of lay it flat. And that can be where you dump your paint on. You might need a couple pieces because you got a couple different colors, but that's okay. You should have received some sponge brushes and some skinny brushes. Now, all of these can be washed and reused. I will tell you, after probably about 3 or 4 times being washed, the sponge brushes will kind of die off and start flaking off. These should last you a while, so if you're kind of a crafty person, you absolutely can keep rinsing these and using them in your crafts. Some stickers, some polka dot stickers. Kind of hard to see, my apologies. So yours may look different. Again, I just grabbed what I had here out of the workshop. Yours could be bigger, smaller, whatever the case may be. You should also have a wire hanger, okay? And so this is stainless steel, and then as always, our shapes are galvanized steel, so they'll never rust. And then the first thing that's gonna go bad on your shape is your bow. If your paint kit was packaged in a bag, like a shopping bag, this was on the outside of your bag, okay? So this is your bow for your shape. And again, yours will probably look different depending on what colors you chose, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to do a red, black, and white. I'm gonna show you how to do a stripe setup on the O's, and then my X's are gonna be red. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna commit to the O's first, just so that it's a lot easier. We can watch things dry. I know, right? Get to watch paint dry. Woo! So with your white, it is primed, it is ready for you to paint. The purpose behind the primer is to just make the colors that you choose pop off better. As you can see on the back of your metal, it is just a gray, blah, you know, galvanized steel. So putting some primer down will make your colors pop. It is just a primer coat. So if you wanted, say, I'm gonna do black and white stripes, you should probably do a second, if not a third coat on the shapes that you're gonna do the black and white stripes. If you're doing stripes, but not black and white, maybe you're doing another color, the way to do stripes as easy as possible is to put your lighter color down over the entire space that you are going to have stripes, okay? And then you'll layer the darker color on top. So I'm gonna put my white down on this. Sorry, let me move it, there you go. So this is, I apologize, this is where it's gonna be kind of a bad angle, but I promise you I will hold it up. So your XOXO was also stenciled to show you the differentiation between the two shapes. So I just wanna show you what I'm doing. I just go in with my sponge brush, see how it's angled, and I just kind of go around that space. So again, the thing to keep in mind is that everything you create is going to be perfectly imperfect. You are going to be looking at it the closest. Anyone else in the world will be looking at this, except for your delivery drivers. And if your delivery driver starts critiquing your painting skills, you might need to do a little more Amazon shopping. But anyway, or maybe your pizza delivery kit, I don't know. So I'm just gonna go in and when we're doing our coats of paint, we want to make sure of two things. One, we want to keep our paint coats thin. Thin because one, they will dry quicker. And two, it is a lot easier to fix any oopses if you have thinner coats of paint. And the second thing is keep them smooth. So if you see ridges in your paint or lumps in your paint, move that paint around, okay? We want to make sure that the paint stays smooth. So if you think about when you're painting a wall, if there's like a ridge of, excuse me, extra paint, usually the drywall will kind of soak that up. We're working with metal, that ain't soaking up anything. So, so you see, I kind of keep moving it, and you know, I go up, I go down, and things like that. So that's just those are the two main tricks for when you're painting, and that'll be throughout any shape that you do here with us with PTB. Is keep it thin and keep it as smooth as possible. So as you can see, it does go pretty quick. I'm almost done here with the O, first O. One question we get a lot with painting is, do I have to commit to one direction? Not the band, but bunch. This video will be filled with bad jokes. You're welcome. So there you can kind of see, this is the primer. This is one coat of white, okay? So we'll go to the other O while I kind of talk to you about direction of painting. So typically what I tell people, and this is not anything you have to do, but if you go one direction on your first coat, so as you can see, I'm going left to right. On my second coat, I'm gonna go up and down, and here's why. Because when you go up and down, it will fill in any dark spots, maybe that when you went left to right, that, you know, the paint left. It will also just kind of give it a different look. So it'll fill it in, so then you won't kind of be like eyeballing it, you know, as opposed to like, what's going on with that space? Why does that look a little darker than everything else, or, you know, whatever. So that's my suggestion. That is not something you have to do. You will also come to sections, especially right here at the top where this X and this O and this other X meet, where you're like, I cannot go left to right. That is okay. That's not a requirement. It's just a little knowledge that I'm passing on from me to you. So, but usually the first coat goes pretty quick, just because you can, especially on this shape, because once you kind of get running with scissors, you can keep painting pretty quickly. So, and I'm going to show you how to do this shape with a hair dryer. So that's another thing that you may want to get. So we use a hair dryer to to dry the paint quicker, because I don't know about you, but I got bigger fish to fry tonight. But your hair dryer must have a cool setting, okay? So a cooler air setting. The reason being is because if we were to use the hot air that we probably all normally use to dry our hair, that would heat up the metal. When the metal is gets warm, it expands, the paint can't adhere to it, and then the paint will fall off. Nobody wants that, okay? So, whoops, sorry about that. So as you can see, I've done one coat of white on each of the O's. and I'm going to use a hairdryer. So I'm going to talk about this. You can pause this video, you can fast forward this video, you can mute me and just watch me. Highly encourage that. But I also highly encourage snacks. You may see me eat some protein balls. I also have some leftover juice from my lunch and some water. But you know, have a good time with it. Take pictures, send them to us at Painted Tin Bin. Make sure you like us on Facebook. It makes it more fun, okay? So again, this is my Dollar General hair dryers. Does the job. And on mine, I have to hold a button in for it to maintain cool air, okay? Yours is probably going to be different unless you've got yours from the DG as well. A Vidal Sassoon 1875 to be exact. But what I'm going to do, you're going to see me, just kind of put it around so that the air hits everything. And then, you'll also see me kind of do like a little light touch and then maybe a little bit light rub. And that's to see if I have paint on my hands, to see if it's still wet. We really want to make sure that the paint, when we're drying it, before we put any more coats on, the second coat or anything else, it needs to be dry. Even if you think it's dry, we're going to give it a few minutes in this process to really decide and commit that it's dry. Because sometimes when you put a second coat over and it's not fully dry, it'll kind of pull some of the bottom paint out with it. So that's why we do what we do. So if you don't have a hairdryer, don't worry about it. You could walk away for probably, excuse me, 5 to 7-ish minutes, depending on how thin or thick your coat is. Go let the dog out. You could walk away for, more if you want. Just make sure that with your paint, you are either A, closing the cap, or B, sealing that up somehow, whether in a like plastic baggie or something, so that your paint doesn't dry up. So I will wave when I start it, because I know sometimes listening to a hairdryer on a video, excuse me, is annoying. And then I'll wave when I'm done so that you know if you are listening to me. Come back, okay? All right. All right, welcome back. So as you can see, if you use a hairdryer, it does go pretty quick, usually less than a minute or so on that. And that's where we're at. So what we're gonna do though, however, is we're gonna continue to let that white just really be dry, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're going to move on to some red. Oh, side note, probably should have said this at the beginning, I apologize. We are using Sherwin-Williams exterior latex paint. It will stay wherever it is, it lands. So my clothes, you will kind of see I have all kinds of random paint colors, you know, on my shirt. Protect your work surface, put some old magazines down, put some plastic down. This is paper, so maybe grab a paper grocery bag, you know, and cut it up and put it underneath it. So that'll protect your surface. So, all right, what we're gonna do, I'm gonna do red X's. So again, we're just going to literally do the same thing that we just did with the white O's, but with red and on the X's. So you could choose to do all different colors. I know some of the sample shapes pictures that I used in the Facebook event, there's the X's are different colors. You absolutely could do that. And I'm going to show you why that came to my mind here. So right where I'm painting, the two X's come together. So there's a way we can show, like, draw a line, and it's with something you have at your home, and we'll be good to go. The other thing is on the red parts or colored parts, that the non-white parts, I would suggest and do a quick swipe along the edge of the shape. Okay? Because otherwise, when you hang it, you may see that edge, and then if it's white, that'll kind of stand out against, you know, any colors that you do have. So, going back to the design piece, like if you wanted one X to be pink and one X to be purple, whatever you wanted to do, that's totally fine. Just only fill in the parts. I stenciled it so that you could have different colored X's and knew where to draw your line. Okay, so we're gonna just keep going. So if you have a friend who didn't get in on this paint kit fun, let them know to like Painted Tin Bin on Facebook and Instagram. This shape, so every time I do an instructional video, and I already have the sample, after I do the video and post the video for customers to follow, I sell these, the ones that I did, so that I don't have 84 XOXOs. I only have 2 doors, a front door and a back door. So I appreciate you sticking with me here. Sometimes these videos do get a little boring. That's why I'm saying turn on some music, have your best friend come over and chat if he or she is not creating with you at the time. It goes a little slower just because I have to talk through a lot of the things in the video. You also had the instructional sheet in your paint kit, so that can also give you some general guidance as well. And I think if you are a crafty person, or if you've been to one of these before, feel like you would be able to just run with scissors on that with just the printed directions. But if not, that's why I'm here. And again, like I said, I highly encourage you to mute me. Just watch what I do. All right. So yeah, so this shape, this XOXO is really popular, but the downside of it is that, you know, there is some real estate and some kind of finagling with the painting that you got to do. So there's one. All right. And then you see the 2 O's. So now I'm going to flip this back around, and I do encourage you to flip this back around, because when you do that, you can see any edges you missed, which is what I'm doing right now. All right. And don't add paint to your paintbrush when you're going to do the edges. Quick swipe. Okay. Literally, that's all. Okay. Just to kind of, it's that starkness of the white, the primed white, that will stick out a lot when it comes to the edges. So, and as you can see, I'm kind of sticking to the sponge brush. I'm I'm curling it around the edges here. You kind of see, you know, like a little U-turn. Those of you that recall your driver's ed. We do have a skinny brush if you don't feel confident and you wanted to kind of maybe go at it a little slower, a certain section. You absolutely can use that. The caution with that is that sometimes using the skinnier brush, you will see the brush strokes a little bit more. So there's two things you could do. You could do 3 coats to just make sure that the brush strokes aren't seen. Or use a little extra paint than normal, and you will be good to go. So there's my U-turn. Again, I'm going to do another one. Now, the thing to keep in mind when you're painting, if you have an oops, don't try and erase it. Okay. Let it dry, and then we can go over it. Okay, so if I really messed up, like say this little corner down here, I would just let it dry and then go over it in white and then do my red again. Okay, depending, like if it was a black, you'd probably have to do 2 pretty kind of medium thick coats of paint to cover the black. Red, I think you could probably do in 1 coat of primer over top of it if you had an oops. But you know, a lot of times everyone, you know, you make a mistake and your first instinct is to wipe it off. Well, you can do that. I mean, I encourage you to do that too. But you can also just let it dry. And because see, I made an oops there, and I'll show it to you here shortly. Just let it dry and then go over it with whatever color. If the color that it's supposed to be is lighter, so in this case, it's white, it would be white. Sorry, I was looking at my phone. I received a text message. The white will, you know, needs a little base to cover it up, so. So the painted tin bin, so now I'll just kind of fiddle around. The painted tin bin has been around for, I believe, 5 years. So originally I worked for It's Scrapicated. And that is who my metal dealer is. Whenever I get shapes that It's Scrapicated also has, I still go through her. It's kind of a way we kind of smartened up and realized that instead of paying a payroll tax, I could just be an independent facilitator. So, and then I have my own workshop here in Springfield. So, I want to show you my little oops. So you will notice how, see right here, I got a little crazy, went a little rogue with my red, and it went onto the white O. That's, I'm going to let that dry. Then I'll go over it with white. Okay, so that'll be a lot easier. So now is the time for hair dryer again. I will wave when I start it. I will wave when I'm done. And again, like I said, I encourage you to kind of flip your piece if you can, because then you see all the edges that you missed. Because that's what I'm doing right now. See? You and I overlook some things. So, all right, I'm gonna use the hairdryer now. Okay, one thing came up in my drying, so you kind of saw me do this, you know, that's just to make sure it doesn't come off. But there was like two little sections up here that were a little wetter, a little thicker in the paint than the rest of it. So you saw me kind of concentrating the air there. So another way you can tell if your paint is still wet is if you can kind of like do this in the light and you can kind of see that it's shiny. If it's shiny, it's still wet, okay? So we now have one coat on our entire shape. And what we're gonna do is now we're gonna go back to our O's. I want to do a second coat of white because I'm fancy, like Applebee's. Just also because it is kind of, you know, a little bit streaky and I just want a little bit better coverage. So my first coat, I went left to right. So on my second coat tonight, I will be doing up and down. And again, keeping it kind of thin. You know, your second coat could be a little thicker than your first one if you wanted it to, just to make sure that you get the good coverage that you are looking for. If you're going to add a third coat, and we will be adding a third coat in like another color in my stripes, we want to still be mindful of making sure that the paint really dries, okay? When you don't fully dry paint and then you paint on top of it, it can kind of get a little gummy and it's not a good look, okay? So, so again, keeping the coats thin and the opposite direction if you can. If you can't, it's no big deal. Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do in this little area right here. Not gonna happen. Just not gonna be able to do it. It's gonna get what it's gonna get and it won't throw a fit, okay? So, again, I still go around, you know, my red ends of my X's with the tip. So, it's like what I said. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna turn this around to do the other one. So you can see a difference here. I'll hold this up. You can see that's got some shadows in it, you know, and this one, good solid white. Again, we're not looking for perfect. Nothing about this shape is perfect. I will tell you that out of all of our shapes, not a single one is symmetrical. You're welcome. But also, that's not the point of this. If we wanted something perfect, we would go get something and, you know, pay money for it, and that's machine made, and you would probably be throwing it out at the end of the season. So that's the great thing about this is, one, you create the memory that you actually made the shape that's on your door, but also it's you're never going to throw this away. I promise you. You're going to have to will it to your children and your grandchildren. It is galvanized steel. It's going to outlast you no matter how old or young you are. And exterior latex Sherwin-Williams paint, like we talked about earlier. And then stainless steel wire for the hanger. So we want to make sure that, you know, when you invest in some decor, that it's gonna last, okay? I got so tired of buying, you know, the $10, $15 door hangers at craft stores every season or every holiday, because the one from the previous holiday, it just got tore up. Even when I have a storm door and things like that, they never lasted. So, all right, so now into the area where I kind of had the oops where I went a little rogue with my red. So what I'm gonna do, ladies and gentlemen, is I'm just going to just get a nice little edge of paint, and I'm just gonna use this like a pencil, and I'm gonna go in, and I'm just gonna go straight across where I want my white to cover, and then I'm gonna smooth it out. You may have to do 2 coats of white to cover the red. Mine's pretty thick. I may try and get away with 1, but we'll see. The other thing is that be strategic. If you're gonna do, so you should be thinking about your design elements, like what you're gonna do to zhuzh it up, if you will. I like that word, zhuzh. You have polka dots. I'm gonna show you how to do some really easy stripes, okay? And in this case, I guarantee you, I'm gonna put a black stripe right over that. Ain't nobody gonna know, all right? So, as you can see, the second coat of white does go quicker. And now we've got that set, okay? Take a drink. So now it's time for our second coat of red. Now, like I said, we should try to go the opposite direction we did on the first coat, but I guarantee you, on these X's, that's gonna be really hard to do and or really annoying to do. So, if you want to go slightly thicker on your coat of paint here in this second coat, you absolutely could, to just kind of make sure that everything's nice and solid and opaque is the word I think I use a lot when talking with customers about painting. So like I was saying earlier, we have been in business for 5 years. I started out with it scrapicated, and then we got smart. And figured out a way not to pay her to pay payroll taxes. So I have my own little workshop here. I'm located here in Springfield, Illinois. It's very deceiving where I'm at. I am over on North Street, just past Charlie Parker's Diner. So I'm in a big industrial building that someone has a fishing lure parts assembly in the back factory part, you know, in this building. And then the front part of this building has been subdivided into a bunch of little work offices and things like that. And I have 2 of them. I'm upstairs so that I don't bother anybody with my crazy painting. So I'm going to show you this right now. You may not be able to see it. Some of my red paint decided to come over here. You probably can't see that, but that's okay. It's really small. I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to try and cover that up. My goal today is just to embrace the cuteness of life, and how it is so it shall be. But so yeah, so I'm over here in Springfield. I really enjoy coming out to Pittsfield. We came out, I'm trying to think when we came out. Oh, I think it was summer, I think maybe last year, or maybe fall, I'm not really sure. So Gianni's Pizza, you know, was trying to get it going again, but we just felt like this was going to be the safer option for the time being. I do believe we may be looking at something later on, spring, Easter, maybe early summer, to see. So I appreciate everyone's flexibility. If you were part of the Gianni's Pizza party that kind of morphed from an in-person event to this paint party, virtual paint party at your home. So, but I also do fundraiser paint kits with 12-inch versions of our shapes that we have. Most of our shapes we do have in a variety of sizes, 6-inch, which are great to make as bag tags or also keychains or also fridge magnets. But then also a 12-inch version. I really like that. So I still have a day job, pension. So I have a couple 12-inch versions hanging in my cubicle at my day job, and then the 24-inch are the door hanger size. Then most of our shapes also do come in a 36-inch version, and I typically recommend those for people who either A, have really wide doors, and a 24-inch just looks kind of dinky on them, or if you are doing some outdoor decor on a fence or on a porch. So my house has a front porch that is screened in, and there are hooks because the previous owner had, I think, like, my neighbors told me, hung Christmas lights like up and down and around and every which way. So I get 36-inch trees, I get 36-inch hearts, 36-inch shamrocks, like, you know, kind of one for snowflakes. And I put 2 on the front of, you know, on the outside of my house. So, my front porch. So just a little holiday seasonal cuteness. So, all right, here we go. We are done with our 2 coats of red and white. As you can see, perfect. The red, the white, I can see some spots. You probably can too, but you know what? That's okay, because I'm gonna do stripes. But also, it's okay. It don't matter. So, we're gonna do another round of hair dryer. Probably also gonna sneak a snack. And again, remember, like, you can pause this video if you get like 2 coats in and then you're like, I'm so tired of listening to Erin. You can mute me, but you can also pause this video and come back to it later. That is perfectly okay. So, all right, well, here we go. I'm gonna do a massive dry. Here we go. All right, welcome back. All right, so, excuse me. Let's talk about stripes. I really want to do stripes. I'm going to do them in a way, actually, no, I don't know what I'm going to do. Yes, I do. I'm going to do polka dots. I know you're shocked by this. Sorry, I'm kind of indecisive. I'm going to grab my red and my black, and I'm going to grab my skinny brush. Now, don't throw these away while you're creating, because you can use the butt of the handle to do polka dots. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm very indecisive today. I'm going to do something. I am going to do stripes. I lied to you. I'm going to talk to you about a couple different things. So just because I didn't include everything in your kit doesn't mean you don't have some of this stuff at home. Painter's tape, if you would like to make stripes, go grab your painter's tape, put it down, and you can make pretty stripes. The other thing you can sometimes use, I say sometimes because sometimes it just doesn't work, is masking tape. I would not suggest using anything stronger than the masking tape. So don't go grab your duct tape or anything like that, because I just don't think it'll be a good look. So what I do is I eyeball it again. So let me show you this way. So I put my first stripe down. I have this, excuse me. And then I just use that as a spacer. And then I'm like, yep, it's gonna go right here. And then I seal it, put it down. The thing with the painter's tape is just to really make sure you do have a good seal on, let me go a little further, with the contact, because that's obviously how it keeps the stripes. So that's something you could do. Also, the other, and I'm going to use this type of brush, but I just wanted to highlight the two different ways you could do stripes. Oops. Yep, see? I already made them. Oops. Here, let me pick it up and show you. See the red? Yep, came flying across. That's right. It just tells me it's still wet. A lot of the people also have these cheap chip brushes laying around their house from when, you know, you had to paint some trim, a kid ran through a wall, you know, whatever the case may be. You can absolutely use those. And my saying with that is the more loved or the more used it is, the better it is to make a more rustic type stripe or finish. And you'll kind of see what I'm going to do here. But just keep reusing it over and over again. I do wipe the excess paint off, obviously. Sorry. Let me take a drink. But this type of brush does give you a really nice distressed look. So if you're into the primitive or distressed look or something, you can absolutely do that. I can also tell you later on how to get a more like a palette or weathered look on your shape. You use one of these. So I'm gonna put just a little bit of paint on here, and I'm just gonna kind of go back and forth a little bit. The key with this is that I cannot get it on the red. Easier said than done in most cases. So, and then I just keep moving the paint back and forth, back and forth. If I need a little bit more, I grab it. But this gives you just kind of a nice, it's almost textured type look to your stripes. Then down here at the bottom, I'm also gonna tape off my other X. Okay, so you can use this to make stripes, but you can use it to make stripes, but you can also use it to block off areas you don't want paint to go. So that's the added benefit of that. So. Again, a little bit of paint, make sure it's down really good, and go to town. Highly scientific process here, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry. You know, I can always tell when people are concentrating during workshop because it gets really quiet. Okay, so I'm gonna take this tape off. I am gonna reuse it, so you're gonna see me put it on my shirt. Just bear with me here, I promise you it's well worth it. Oops. Well, we won't reuse that piece, but. Okay. So there you go. You can kind of see how it's not perfect. It's just cute. It's a little bit of rustic. I did have a little bit of cray paint kind of up here, but I will fix that later. So now I'm just gonna lather, rinse, and repeat down here on the other O. So, and you can, if you do have painter's tape, you can reuse it. You just make sure you really push it down, okay, for that seal. But otherwise, you can usually 2, sometimes 3 times, no more than 3 times. So again, I'm just eyeballing it where I'm gonna put it. And remember that red dot that I had an oops about over here? Yep, it's getting covered up. So that and that. So the other fun thing that you get to think about is that everywhere there's tape, it will stay white. So if you wanted to use it, if you're big into buffalo plaid check, you absolutely could you do that. I have lots of design videos, not lots, I have some design videos on this YouTube channel. So if you wanted to know how to do a buffalo plaid check, that, you know, that red and black gingham or whatever, people call it different things. I encourage you to check that out. I also have some other instructional videos over there. I think I have like one about the hanger, which your instructions, and I'll go over it here in this video, but you know what? I need another barrier here. There we go. But if you needed another video, a little help, you absolutely could check out that video. I have how to paint buffalo plaid ombre. That's a really pretty almost like a sunset, or when you go from like a dark to a light version of a color, how you do that. And I think everyone, you could absolutely do that with this, as long as you have like 2 colors and you have a white, you can usually do a pretty cool ombre. So I've seen some really cool ombre hearts. Other customers have made this Valentine's season. They go from like a red to a pink to a white. It was really pretty. So again, smallest amount of paint possible in the world. Make another barrier there. Forgot about that one. So anywhere that you don't want there to be paint, you know, rip some, you keep seeing me rip a little piece of painter's tape off. I mean, that's all I'm doing is ripping a little piece of painter's tape off and putting it down so that it can, it will stay off the red, in my case. And again, if you are not wanting to do stripes, you would probably fast forward, or I encourage you to fast forward through this portion. But this is a really good also way to technique. I think I called it dry brushing. I have that in the in the design videos as well. Okay. So again, if you have one of these laying around, you can rinse it, put it in my water cup over there. I'm gonna pull my painter's tape off, and I thankfully do not have to keep it anymore. I'm pretty sure it would not stay. There you go. Oops. So see, we got, I know it's upside down, but 2 black and white stripes, super easy, minimal paint transfer. The other thing is if it really bothers you, you could take one of your skinny brushes and put the world's smallest amount of black on it. And you could go in there with just some little light brush strokes right up to the red if it bothers you. I just encourage you to just be mindful of the fact that a lot of times whenever you switch paintbrushes, you can tell the difference, okay? So, but if it does bother you, I mean, you can take your tiny brush and you can kind of fill it in and move it back and forth, and that'll get you there, okay? I am doing that on a couple pieces just because it's, goodness gracious. And again, you are the one that's looking at it the closest. That's the other thing to keep in mind. No one else will be this close to it. So I would not worry about it too much. Okay, there you go. Now, I want to demonstrate for you a couple different things. So one thing is I'm going to show you how to do your stickers for your polka dots. Then I'm also going to show you a different way of doing polka dots that I think will be really fun. The vinyl we use for our polka dots is exterior vinyl. So it's vinyl that can be outside for 5 years straight, no problem. If you get a polka dot that falls off, more than likely what the issue was is that the paint underneath it was not dry, okay? So you notice that we went to the O's first. Now we're back to the X's, and it's just a sticker. All you gotta do is put it down. It's a good look right there. But here's the thing. Once you stick, you must commit. AKA, if you put a polka dot, that's its home forever and ever, amen. So I encourage you to fill up your X's with all the polka dots that you have. Be mindful. So the first thing that I would probably tell you to do is be like, find those spaces where maybe you had an oops. So I have a little bit of black over here. I'm going to put a polka dot there. I did not mean to do that. I'm going to put a polka dot there. Now I don't have to go back over that spot. What do you know? Okay. The other thing is that random sporadic polka dots are encouraged. Do not make it a pattern. Okay? Because when you make it a pattern, people know. Okay? And I believe I sent home with you guys like 1, 2, 3, 4 different sizes maybe of polka dots. I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna put these, I have different ones than you, but I mean the same concept. I'm gonna put these medium-sized polka dots on the bottom one, and then I'm gonna put, I have some tiny ones on the top X, because I feel like being fancy. So you see, I just peel and stick right off the paper. Your backing paper is white, so I apologize for that. They changed the backing color on me. Sometimes it's a lighter blue and it looks nice, but it's easy to see. But as you can see, I'm getting started here. Like, I'm just putting them down, okay? If you wanted to add some polka dots on polka dots, because you know I do, I'm gonna take the end of this this paintbrush, I'm gonna dip it in my black, and I'm going to put, what am I gonna do? I think I'm just gonna put some in the middle. Okay, that's all I'm doing. So that I have all 3 colors on my X's. Okay. All right, cool. Now, another thing that I'm going to do to zhuzh up my O's, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put the end of my paintbrush into the paint, pick up just a little bit, really tiny there, and I'm going to go around the inside of my heart, my O, around the heart, and I'm going to make tiny red polka dots around it. So I'll show this to you once I kind of get a good start going. Typically I can, if I dip it once, I can get 2-ish, 2 to 3 polka dots out of it. Any more than that, you're probably using a lot of paint and your polka dots are bigger than mine. I'm not using a whole lot of paint for these polka dots. Just a quick little dot. But it's effective, so let me show it to you. So see, there's the black, and then there's the red around the inside. All right. So one other thing that I wanted to show you, this is becoming an hour-long video, and I try not to talk more than an hour, ladies and gentlemen. If you have this shape and you need some differentiation between your X's, go grab your Sharpie. And then it's just as simple as drawing a line, okay? So I'm gonna go here, there. That's all I did, okay? Now, you could get real fancy. You could do dots and dashes along the outside. I do believe I have a finishing video where I talk about that. But let's go ahead. I encourage you to finish your shape. When you get done with everything, just let it dry. You can use the hair dryer, but let's let it dry. Probably a good solid 10 minutes or so. But to show you, let's do our hanger. So you have this galvanized steel wire hanger. And what you're gonna need is you're either gonna need a pair of needle nose pliers or a pen or a Sharpie. Grab the Sharpie you went and got with a cap like that, okay? Because here's why. You put the holes on the edge of the table. You take the wire and go from back to front and give yourself about, that's probably about 2 inches. And then you grab the end and twist and twist and twist. And that's it, okay? That's how you get our signature twist at the end of the wire. On this side, if you're using a pen cap, what you do the same thing, but you put the wire in between the pocket catch of the cap and the pen, and you twist. And this is a little harder because you have to like move the pin and hold the pin, all the things. Twist, twist. And then you slide the pin out. And you have the same thing. Actually, I'm gonna grab that end because it's a little, the wire, the needle nose pliers are a lot easier, but you can easily do it with a pen, okay? So then what you do, you grab your bow off your bag, and it has 2 legs, 2 pipe cleaner legs. You put one leg through the hole, the very hole that you just brought the metal, the wire through. Put one leg through the hole, one leg over, and then behind it, you twist the legs. And then you have a completed piece. How cute is this? So I appreciate you guys. I had to walk away and grab some stuff that I wasn't prepared for, so I apologize for that. But I hope you enjoyed creating at home. If you have any questions or if you run into any issues, I'm gonna bring you closer, messages on Facebook. So go to Facebook and like the Painted Tin Bin and send us a message. You can text. If you have my number, you can email us, thepaintedtinbin@gmail.com. I'm happy to help. We'll get it figured out. All right. Thanks, guys.